Okay, welcome to Flat Revival Radio. This is Ty Gorton. Joining me today is the editor of FRM magazine, Louis.
Hey guys,
How you doing, man?
not too bad.
Good, good. Want to start by going over the chat rules real quick. Everyone is welcome. No wrench needed to chat. Needlessly crude comments will be deleted, and needlessly crude chatters will be banned. Wrench Squad, for those of you here, anyone can comment. Use your discernment when deleting and/or banning someone. Thank you. So I thought we'd kick it off with something light here. This is one of my favorite posts on Twitter recently. I just think that this kind of advertising that directly engages flat Earth, and they're really clever too. I mean, curved, UHD, and smart, because of course you have to be smart to believe in the curvature. Yeah, so all right. I'm sure if you're here in the chat right now, you probably are aware. The first issue of Flat Revival magazine has been completed. This is all about kind of showcasing that. We do have a trailer that we'll be showing here shortly. I've got to say, it's kind of hard to believe that I crossed the finish line today.
The the amount of work. I mean, even for me, and I literally didn't do a percent of what you've done. I mean, it's staggering when I stop and think about it.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, I mean, if anything, whatever come what may. I mean, yeah, nice job. I'm impressed.
It's been a long time since I've been able to put so much into something I actually care about. You know, Probably for a few years at least now. I've
What
just pretty much been doing my graphic design work, and I just wasn't creating anything. So being able to drop into something like this it was overwhelming. I enjoyed it, but it was, I gotta say, a lot more difficult than I thought.
So what do you think the kicker was for you? I mean, I've known you for years now, and we've always talked about doing stuff, and we never quite got there. So what kind of kicked you in the ass? What was that moment where you decided?
Right. That's an interesting question. I mean, there's no doubt in my mind that a little penguin had something to do with that. And there's a lot of weird drama surrounding all of that. I don't To me, the whole concept of FEPE, flat earth people everywhere, it transcends that stuff in my mind. The moment it was put out in the public, it became everyone's. It's not owned by anyone, but everyone can own it. Everyone can take it and do something with it. And I think having a door open like that, where it was so easy to jump in and take this FEPE thing and run with it and play with it and see where it took you.
So it kind of started. It kind of started with you like doing your own FEP, but it was something that you could do really quickly and not have to commit to initially, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
could be working. I actually got to a point where, I mean, I was producing quite a lot of memes on a daily basis there for, I don't know, maybe 3, 4 weeks. It was intense, but I would work for a couple hours at my job, and then I'd be like, okay, flat Earth break, crank out a meme, and then go. It really broke up my day nicely, and I think that kind of whet my appetite, you know.
Nice. Very nice.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people, it's clear that a lot of people who were on the sidelines have jumped into the mix, um, you know, behind this momentum of FEPE. And I know I'm not alone in it. I've watched other people go through the exact same process.
Right.
So yeah, I think that's a big part of it. And it's
And and now you're here.
and now I'm here. I mean, probably 24 hours ago, I gotta say it seemed impossible to get to this this stage where I'm talking to you guys and I have a finished magazine to show you. I just decided, we've got to set a finish line. Enough is enough. Um, let's get this thing done.
Yeah, I mean, at one point you have to move on to the next issue, and I mean, this first issue's. I think everybody's gonna be really pleased with it. I'm pretty hard on printed words in in magazines. I'm real critical, um, and you are too. You know,
Sure.
uh, and this is something that when I look at it, I mean, I'm proud to even be a small part of it. It's fabulous.
Now, well, there's no way this is being presented to everybody without your help. I mean, and it wasn't just the actual literal things that you were doing, the editing work and all of that. It was just having somebody there that I could just vent to,
Right. Which,
who knew what I was going through.
right. Yeah. I mean, having whatever project it is, as long as if you have somebody like that to where you can vent or bounce ideas off of, I mean, it always makes all the difference for sure.
Yeah. And I mean, there's been some people were so generous with their time and efforts. Paulie Hart, I want to shout out to specifically. He contributed a considerable amount to the magazine, and he's been there through the whole process. And it's really great when you have someone that is that engaged with the project. And that's what I'm hoping the magazine is for everyone. You know, let's get together and play. Let's see what we can come up with. We don't have any rules on this thing. There's no boundaries to what it can be.
Right. And we talked about this from the get-go was, what kind of publication would we be? And flat Earth aside, how would we be different from other publications? And it all came down to, what do all publications say they do, but they don't follow up with? Oh, we're going to give a voice to anybody, you know.
Right.
Um, but wait a minute, before we do that, you have to meet this criteria, this criteria. This is a community magazine. I mean, if it's well presented, there are no requirements. We want everybody to be a part of this. It won't be able to happen unless people are a part of this.
Yeah, exactly. And I think, it's we had to get this first issue out there. It's going to be in print soon and in people's hands. And it makes it real. People see that, it is achievable. We can create something of quality that's professional, that engages flat earthers where they are, where their state of mind is, the kind of topics and in-depth analysis of things that we're ready for. And
Right,
but it's also, it's going to have fun too. It's going to poke fun at itself. It has a sense of humor. It's philosophical. It's we've got science fiction, two
yeah.
actually two science fiction flat Earth stories in this first issue, and they're great and they're very
But
distinct from each other.
one of which, I mean, I have to kind of like mention it, but yeah, one of which is from somebody who's not a flat earther, but was just so excited to jump in. And like when I told him about it
Yeah.
and questioned him, um, he came back like in the next half hour at the page saying, what do you think of my beginning? I was like, oh man, okay. Yeah,
Yeah,
dude,
that's
going.
really fun. I mean, I think that's a great story, and I think it says something about artists or creative people in general. I think that even though this is a person who hasn't maybe researched into flat Earth a lot, or certainly doesn't identify as a flat earther, but still sees that it's worth engaging and
Yeah,
that it sparks some kind of creative juice,
and yeah, it's a good lesson I think too for a lot of people to consider is there's no reason like flat earthers need to be exclusive or vice versa. You know, you find people who just want to create, sometimes that can be enough
Right.
to come together, and who knows where that's going to lead in the end.
Yeah, I think that's the interesting thing is what will be the end result of that process for the person creating the material.
Right.
I think they might wind up getting closer to identifying as a flat earther by the end of it than they thought possible.
Well, and this is what you're saying is proving true, at least directionality, or in the same direction. I know this writer has already, after the fact, done more research on the sun and the moon, and we'll spend days chit-chatting about it back and forth. So it sparked something with him.
Yes. Yeah. There's just something compelling about this topic, it's even people who have nothing but disdain for flat earth almost are equally obsessed with it.
Right.
It's like okay, we get it, you don't like it. Why are you hanging out in all of our chat rooms and message boards and
Right.
you're spending just as much time on flat earth as we are. And I find that curious.
Yeah, it's a weird thing. I've thought about that multiple times, and it's just like, well, I mean, okay. I mean, that's what, I don't know. It's just, yeah, people don't realize how they engage, and like they can't see it objectively.
Right.
I don't know. It's an interesting thing.
Okay, well, I think are we ready to kick off this trailer premiere?
Let's show it. I'm excited for it.
All right, let me cue this up here real quick. We're going to show we've created a promo trailer for issue number 1. It's around 2 minute 45 seconds, so I'm going to go ahead and play that, and we'll be back on after that to talk about it, and then we'll drop into some other discussions.
And you were a house on fire, and I couldn't understand why. Burned me all down to the ground, you said. The fire's on the inside. Flames dancing like ghosts behind the windows, pain jumping from the walls. You want to keep this private, I can see that, but you can't ask it of me, we've only just met. I said we need hope now more than ever before, do you believe it? The answer was silence, I'll take it as a no. We all want to be normal anyways. We all want to be somewhere else, somewhere we live, but that's not reality, it's just point of view. Let's not talk about the weather and whether or not there's really rain in the clouds unless you just want to know if I feel the same as you. It's more measuring up than just wasting time, but time is not on our side. You're burning. Rain would only be a temporary fix, and there's just no place right now for cute ironies like that anymore. You're a house on fire. About life, we just sing them different. You sing the words, but you don't know the songs. You expect us all to sing along, how selfish. The lengths that we go to put so much distance between us is staggering. You're burning alive with stress and light, both hands in flames trying to hold the fire inside. Drop and roll, repeat line for emphasis. I'll repeat it until you believe it. You're gonna be okay, say it to me. The answer's still silent, I'll take it as a maybe. I can't decide if I should knock down your door or on it. Say the word and I'll take a hatchet to your heart or a pinprick. Come right through the darkness, fill out the contents. On my knees, sorting through the remnants. Pour out your hates in my hands. I'll let them slip right here through my fingers. And this is for all of us. This is for the times that we only listen long enough to know that the other person we're talking to has the same opinion as we do from when we're burning inside.
All right, there we go. So that was the trailer premiere for issue #1 of Flat Revival magazine. I wish everyone could chime in with their thoughts on it. But what do you think of it, man?
It's slick, man. Revival of rival, you know.
That's one of those. That's one of those. You know, lack of sleep, delirium things. I think that dropped out at the last second, right as I was finishing the video, and it just, wow, how did I not hit on that before this?
You just coined a term that's gonna stick around. Revival.
Yeah,
revival.
We'll definitely be making use of that, I think. Sure.
Yeah.
That's fun. Yeah, it's you know, I pretty much pulled an all-nighter last night getting the pages ready, and then I just, I so wanted to just lay down. I was like, I could take a little nap. You know how you try to convince yourself, just
right.
like 45 minutes. It's not a big deal. But
I'm
I knew, I've been at this long enough, and I'm getting older. I was like, if I lay down, that's it.
Right.
That's in game right there. So I just took some deep breaths and jumped right into the video editing, and got kind of lucky with it, honestly. Things just went very unusually. They went together quickly and efficiently, and got it done just in time.
Yeah, and it looks good. People are gonna be pleased, I think.
I hope so. You suggested the music, which is, it's Listener, and what's the title of the song?
You Are a House on Fire.
Yes.
Yeah, those guys are amazing. And little side note, and a few years ago, as a journalist, I went and covered one of their concerts here in Salt Lake, and I sat and talked with the lead guy for quite a bit. He's really down to earth, just a really cool artist. I mean, it was really neat to meet that guy.
Yeah, I bet. That's really cool. When I hear this song for the first time, I was certain I'd heard the poetry before. I mean, maybe it's something that other, poetry performers borrow and use at times. I just knew I'd heard it before, but there are so many lines that they couldn't be more relevant to
Right.
the sentiment behind this magazine.
Absolutely.
I mean, I hadn't even considered what songs you suggested this. I listened to it and instantly, that's the one. I didn't have to listen to anything else.
So that's how it happened before I recommended it. So like when you told me, "Oh, I'm gonna do a small little video," and immediately that song popped in my head.
Nice,
So
nice.
yeah, it's just it palpably applicable.
The interesting thing is, and I was worried about, it's an independent band, and um, I thought, hopefully it's okay that I make use of it.
Right.
And I mean, seconds after I uploaded the video to YouTube, there was a copyright notice, but it said the claimant is willing to let you use the music,
Oh, nice.
but there might be ads or something. And I was like, okay. I know, that's a first for me that anything I got a notice on anything, but thankfully it all worked out.
Yeah.
If I wasn't able to use that music, I don't think I would have been able to pull this off or get it
It's
together.
it's a slippery slope because I mean, you paid for the song, you know.
I
I mean,
did.
this is a whole another topic that we probably shouldn't landslide into, but yeah, I mean, I don't know, when you buy something, it seems to me you can do what you want with. I mean, that is now yours in a sense. I don't know. It's the whole
Right.
thing is iffy and but you did due diligence in my opinion. So for whatever that's worth.
Right. I hopefully I consider it, we're promoting the music. Um and I'll get the information for the artist added to the trailer. I'll get that uploaded for everyone soon. I have the trailer ready to go separately, so I'll make that public, and we can start sharing that around. Okay, let's. Unless you have anything else to engage about the trailer or issue number one.
Um, not all that much. I mean, I hope people can realize the work that went into it and the work that's going to have to continue to go into it in but I have no doubt anybody who picks this magazine up isn't going to be disappointed.
Right, I hope that's the case. I mean, it's always you get to the finish line. There's always, wow, there's more I could have done, and I wish I'd been able to get this in and that in. But this is step one. This is the first incarnation of something I hope to see grow and become something that actually sustains and is able to pay
Yeah.
artists, down the road. And again, like you said, I don't is this a topic we should even dive into? But you get to the money aspect of flat Earth, which is such a sensitive topic. It
I,
really gets under the skin of a certain cross section of people.
yeah, you're not going to get away from that. I'm I'm pretty positive we'll end up having we could have a whole show on just that topic alone. Which maybe we probably should at some point, you know.
Yeah, I think it's worth talking about at length for sure. Um, I just can't. The moment it struck me, and I started seeing things getting done that never thought possible. Billboards and art shows and all these little small projects that had the sole purpose of spreading awareness, and people were contributing, and it was getting done.
Yeah.
And then it strikes you, if you could make flat Earth something that people could devote all of their time to and make a living,
Exactly.
That's an incredible thing, because someone doing something they're passionate about while they're able to pay their bills, that's where magic happens. That's where
Yeah.
people are able to do their best work.
Well, and knowing you and how you function, I mean, if you were able to stress out about only this, and you were able to work on it 10, 12 hours a day and still get paid, the quality would be 100 times better, you know?
Certainly. Yeah, I mean, I'm torn between two different realities in a sense right now, and to do one, I have to neglect the other, and that's
Well,
just the reality of it.
that's a tough position to be in. I mean, even philosophically, I mean, you have to spend some time in this world and then kind of readjust to go back to another world. And that's real taxing, I think. It is for me.
Yeah, it can be exhausting for sure. And of course, the more I get, the more in tune I get with flat Earth, and the more it kind of permeates my daily thoughts, the less I want to have to like set it all aside and go back to the other thing.
Right.
Because that's just the way to, just about every flat earther doing this is dealing with that aspect, and we
So
all
the
know that's what's going on, and I think there's a respect there for that.
so I mean definitely, but let's make that a non-reality. The more people contribute, content, time, whatever you want to contribute, um, there are going to be opportunities to get out of that world you don't want to be in.
Exactly. I think we're
So,
I think we're creating it. It's growing, and it's going to continue to grow, and I hope people see the benefit of creating a flat earth community that's self-sustaining.
right.
That's kind of, once it's self-sustaining, there's nothing that can stop it. It's going to just keep snowballing.
Yep.
Um, so that, I think that leads in pretty well. We kind of wanted to dive into a discussion about identity. It was kind of the inspiration for the to be or not to be, where he's holding up the globe instead of a skull, and it's um, obviously, the people listening to this, a lot of the people listening to this probably they've taken the leap to some extent and identify as flat earthers. Um, I certainly, if asked, I have no other response at this point. I'm definitely a flat earther, and I think that's not necessarily the case for you at this point.
Right. I mean, I'm a part of this, almost from the outside. As far as identity is concerned, I mean, yeah. I mean, quickest thing to say, yeah, is I'm not a flat earther, but I'm editing a flat Earth magazine and reading flat Earth literature, and I mean, it's all about keeping everything open for me. You know, I'm real slow to ever say something is a sure thing. Really slow to do it, but it's been fun.
Yeah,
It sure has.
yeah. I don't really know why. I it's it it's been fairly easy for me to just totally embrace that identity, or being able to say, yeah, this is what I feel is reality. I have
Right.
no problem identifying that way. But it's a Crow 777 radio, um, doesn't wouldn't say I am a flat earther
Right.
either. But he's contributing an ongoing column to Flat Earth Mag. Again, he understands that it's more about a state of mind. It's more about realizing that we live in this incredibly deceptive world, And
I and I was going to talk about that deception. I mean, that's the problem for me. Is I've learned a lot over the years, and in my opinion, have seen a complete deception that's been in front of me my whole life. Like, I see it everywhere now. And the problem, I think, with people like me, or or even, yeah, people like me, but like with like identity, how can you actually know what your identity is, or see yourself a certain way when you've come to the realization that the identity you've always had is built on nothing but lies. So that kind of takes you down to ground level, like starting all over again, figuring out who you are,
right.
and what you see, what you surround yourself. You know, it's just it's an odd place to be in where everything is in question, and that's how it should be. But it's an odd existence.
Yeah, to be sure. And I think you bring up a good point, this sense of, starting at kind of ground zero, and maybe this time around I'm not gonna fully commit so
That,
enthusiastically,
yeah.
you know.
That's
So
I never thought about it that way.
um, it kind of I'm gonna bring up this Bruce Lee thing where he talks about water. Um, Bruce Lee's an actor. It doesn't really matter about that. It's the words. I've always really liked this sentiment here. Um, be like water making its way through cracks. Do not be assertive, but adjust to the object, and you shall find a way around or through it. If nothing within you stays rigid, outward things will disclose themselves. Empty your mind, be formless, shapeless like water. If you put water into a cup, it becomes the cup. You put water into a bottle, and it becomes the bottle. You put it in a teapot, it becomes the teapot. Now water can flow or it can crash. Be water, my friend. And I think, you know, he's talking about what we're talking about here. If you if you're overly committed to something, which is the whole problem with scientism, you know, people are too invested in it to step away and analyze it or be objective about it.
Right.
So if you're, like water, and you just allow yourself to take the shape of something and test it, and then you're free to go where the information takes you.
So do you think that's applicable on the other side as well? Like two flat earthers?
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't, like you said, step back. I mean, it's like getting caught in one of those dead stares. You're looking at something, but you're seeing right through it, you know? So when you step back, you're able to gain your own perspective back.
Yes.
And you get back on track by doing that, I think.
Yeah, and certainly I think it applies to flat earthers because there is that danger that we get so kind of complacent or locked into this thing when there could be, there might be something more over the hump. Maybe we haven't actually hit the last thing yet. Maybe there's a lot more hurdles we're going to jump
Right.
before we get to an actual core truth of where we are here.
Yeah.
So, I think we have to just kind of be a little bit more open um, to possibility and not lock in. I mean, I hope we've learned our lessons about locking into an ideology or a specific idea at this point.
Well, and I mean, I think I believe this, but I think in terms of how you go about it, is important too. I mean, just, if you push up against something, it's pushing back with equal force. So, I mean, if you're a little more malleable and, not go through your quote unquote enemies, but kind of softly go around them, I think for the large part, that's always more successful.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. Definitely. There was this. I'm not sure how many people here are familiar with the Bernays character, but there's this clip from a documentary called "The Century of Self." I kind of wanted to play a bit of that because I think it speaks to how identity has been tragically manipulated with the introduction of so much mass media, television, internet, screens everywhere, the constant input. And this is quite an old documentary, but really great information. So I'm going to play this real quick.
This episode is about Freud's American nephew, Edward Bernays. Bernays is almost completely unknown today, but his influence on the 20th century was nearly as great as his uncle's. Because Bernays was the first person to take Freud's ideas about human beings and use them to manipulate the masses. He showed American corporations for the first time how they could make people want things they didn't need by linking mass-produced goods to their unconscious desires. Out of this would come a new political idea of how to control the masses. By satisfying people's inner selfish desires, one made them happy and thus docile. It was the start of the all-consuming self, which has come to dominate our world today.
Very dramatic music, for sure.
I have to apologize real quick. My computer is being slow, so like couldn't listen. It's barely starting for me now.
Gotcha.
Can you give me a quick thing about what we just watched?
Yeah, it covered. It kind of introduced people to Bernays, Freud's nephew, and how he, at least in the modern age, really brought the notion that consumers could be easily manipulated,
right,
tapping into their kind of subconscious desires and fears, whatever it may be, and he really showed corporations how to kind of surgically use that to get people to buy things they really had no use for.
Right. Man, think about realizing that for the first time, the amount of power you probably feel, just, it trips me out, man.
Yeah, to be able to mastermind a kind of plan and then put it in action and see those kind of results, just massive numbers, just changing basically something about the way a whole generation of people live their lives.
Well, I think arguably, that was probably the single biggest thing that has ever happened in our world as far as a paradigm shift. Like, it completely changed everything.
Right. I think clearly, and it's almost, we're starting to get a picture of it. I feel like it's still too soon to fully grasp what all of this is doing to us, because it keeps changing so quickly now. Over the course of a single person's lifetime,
right,
the landscape is completely different.
True.
And it almost always, every time advances forward, it almost always results in more inputs, more ways that information can be pumped into you, you know. is
without you even knowing it.
exactly.
It's I mean, if you step back like right now in this time, I mean, it's weird to look at it that way and with that realization, just that there's a whole new modality of indoctrination.
Yes.
I mean, we keep waiting for the future. We're in the future. You know, we're in the dystopia already.
Yeah, I would say that's fairly accurate. And at the same time, I almost feel like that's exactly the desired mental state, that, this is what they would prefer you to exist in. It's
Of course.
this kind of fog of, man, this really must be the worst time. We're at it. This is the thing, man. We're really in the thick of it. And it's, but is it just to perpetuate that feeling in us, indefinitely?
Right.
So every generation has this sense of dread about it, but then it's like they just find a way to repackage it for the next generation, and there you go.
Yeah.
There's your doom and gloom. You can have that for a lifetime. Have fun with it.
Stick that in your mouth and suck it.
And then they start fresh with some slightly tweaked ideas, rearrange it a little bit, kind of like that dark sci-fi film, Dark City, right? Have you seen that?
Yeah.
Where they every night they rearrange things and just see how it messes with people's heads.
Right.
Oh man, it's too much. The sophistication now with all of this computer technology, the ability to create imagery that is almost imperceptible from reality, which means there's no limitation on what they can put in front of us now.
And I would even say, I think for the majority, a lot, a lot of these images are are fully indistinguishable, to the untrained eye. Like
Yeah,
nowadays, you have to, unless you're like, a lot about computer graphics or certain software, you know what to look for. But the majority of people don't. That's there was this study, um, I read about. It was a Harvard study about fake news in high school students, and they polled they showed a bunch of students different photos with captions, and they were supposed to pick out the ones that were fake. They were supposed to find out, and it was something like 90% said all the manipulated photos were real news. Like they
yeah,
couldn't they couldn't put two and two together, even with the caption, like, wait a minute, that doesn't sound right. They just saw the photo,
sure.
and that's what we're being trained to do. Is
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah, it's
it's
intense. So yeah,
it's
I watch some of these commercials every now and then. I'll catch something on YouTube, some analysis of it's typically a perfume commercial or a car commercial, and it's like this 2.5 minute short film with a plot line and major actors and movie theater level CGI graphics, and they're selling you a bottle of stink sauce.
right.
And I'm like, what is this about? You've got to be kidding me.
Right.
And
No.
there's so many layered messages, and like, I don't know 10% of what I need to know to really pick apart all of the meanings in this stuff.
Right.
Incredible. Okay, so we've talked a bit about identity. Um, it's I think it's okay to believe or be certain, in fact, that the Earth is flat and still not say I am a flat earther. You know, people could have their reasons for that, and it really doesn't matter. You know, I don't think that it matters ultimately if they're engaging the truth and they're testing reality and they're talking about it. Um, it means that they're engaged, they're
Right.
contributing, and it. What difference does it make if they're going to take on this specific identity?
Well, and if they're engaging, like you said, like let's even take somebody who believes the Earth is a sphere. Like, it still doesn't really matter to me if they're engaging in a certain way. I mean, that helps two people out. The person they're engaging, like another flat earther, say, um, you never know what that conversation or that back and forth is going to help the how that's going to help the flat earther. Like,
Sure.
they're going to come up with different ideas, or yeah, everybody needs to be allowed to engage, to question.
Sure.
And it's not like I'm trying not to pay attention to some of the chat, but it's,
Stinks,
you
stink
know,
sauce. I used to
yeah.
put that shit on everything. Thank you for that, Post Globe Society.
But yeah, we got to remember, people need to be allowed to engage at any level they want to be,
Yeah.
and there needs to be I don't know, an acceptance of that. As long as it's being fruitful, then what does it matter what you believe?
Right.
But
Yeah. So kind of wanted to bump over to passion. Some people confuse crazy with passionate. Let me be clear, I am batshit passionate, says the entire flat earth community. um, and you've talked about this with me before. Um, I mean, I'll just let you frame it, but you know, in terms of what you perceive as the passion level of the flat earth community.
I I think it's through the roof. Um, Passion, I don't know, in my opinion, and this applies to my own personal art and my personal life, but passion is the single greatest thing somebody can have, and um, it's not easy to have passion. Passion, it's exhausting.
Yes,
So
indeed, says the guy who's been up for 2 days straight.
right, right, and I mean, nothing is gonna be nothing is gonna make a dent if there isn't apparent passion. I mean, you can listen to two people speak, or two people at a poetry reading, say, and one poem is just through the roof, but there's not that injection of passion into it. You're going to want to listen to the other person because you're actually hearing their heartbeat. You're hearing their soul shake because everything they have they put into this.
Yeah.
And that's what makes impressions, lasting impressions, is pure, unadulterated passion for something.
Yeah. Yeah, that's well put. Um, it's so strange this working on this magazine and really engaging flat earth online over these past months. Um, it's strange to engage something that is so personal, that feels so personal
Right.
on the internet, because you kind of know inherently, or you learned early on when it came to the internet, that you you couldn't do that. You couldn't make it personal because there were people out there that just wanted to mess with you to mess with you. You know, that enjoyed the process of just ruining someone's day on the internet.
That's yeah. Those people, they're the ones that their whole day goes like that. So when they get home and they can get behind a screen, it's
Yeah, it's game
it's
on.
time for payback.
Yeah, exactly. You know, that's probably accurate. You know, I can't, I can't begin to understand the mentality of that kind of person that
Me
would
either.
devote hours to trying to ruin someone else's something they care about or something they're passionate about. Um,
Yeah, I can't fathom, ever thinking like, oh, what am I gonna do tonight? Oh, I'm gonna go get online and troll some people.
but
Don't
you
you
know,
have 1,000 better things to be doing?
right. But here we are, and it exists rampantly, and especially in terms of flat Earth. And so it brings me back to this. You know, this is something that for all of us, it's a personal thing that it's happened to us. This realization and acceptance, and all the things we had to go through to get here, and move past a lot of the stuff that was just kind of overwhelming. And you just say, okay, I'm going to let that go. Time to move on.
Right.
But it's so personal, and you're doing the one thing you know you shouldn't do. You're throwing yourself and something you deeply care about right into the viper's den.
Right.
You know, to be torn apart, and you just kind of know, you know, that's part of the, you have to be ready for that.
And you have to be okay with it. You know, I mean, I'd be being ready, but I would say that's not quite enough, because you can feel you're ready. You need to know you're ready for it. I mean, there are a lot of people on this earth. You're not going to please even a fraction of them. The sooner you figure it out that you're gonna get ripped to shreds, the more productive and the more productive you're gonna be, because you're gonna stop being afraid.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think you just learn to let go of that real quick in the online flat earth, you know, scenario. You have to. But you know, you still see passionate people getting taken shots, and it's really about, you know, I don't want to engage that stuff. I don't like that it's going on, especially to the extent it has off and on. And it's like, you would think with something as fringe, as completely out there, and fundamentally huge as a flat Earth realization, you think we could just like chill out and all just like move forward together in a peaceful line and be pretty happy about it. You think we'd be stoked, but man, we still find a way to take shots at each other and make each other miserable when we can.
It's almost like it's bred into us. I mean, it just makes no sense to me, especially between flat earthers, like you said. I mean,
Yeah.
I can't even. That makes no sense to me. I mean, we all have a goal, and that the destination is the exact same. So I don't know, let's help people along.
And I guess we have to assume at this point, you know, we're not naive about the fact that some of the characters online are actually probably getting paid to do what they do, to disrupt things. You know, that's been well documented that this goes on, obviously.
No, that's it. I mean, that's not even debatable. I mean, if you don't think stuff like that happens, then I I'm sorry, I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, I mean, this whole thing of like trying to prove who is and who isn't. It's so tired to me that I instantly, whenever I see any of that coming, it just shuts me down. I don't care about that because you're never going to know with certainty anyway. Just trust if there's somebody that you follow and you listen to, and they tend to lend you inspiration, and they help you keep taking steps forward in a positive way. Go with that
Exactly.
and just drown out the rest of the noise. I mean, nobody can please everybody. So
Right.
there's always going to be someone in the corner shouting something at you, and so what?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it comes down to that. So what? I mean, you have passion. I mean, I had a full blown epiphany like 2 weeks ago, and it came out of nowhere. One, it made me realize all the other epiphanies I thought I had weren't actual epiphanies, because this like shut me down.
Right.
But it just occurred to me that, you know, I'm 36 now, and I'm real nice with agreeing to help people with their projects and everything, and I get overloaded. And it just occurred to me, I'm 36. I can't waste any more time on stuff I don't care about anymore. I just can't do it. I've done it my entire life. Time's
Yeah.
running out. Time is running out, and I'm not even close to having finished what I want to have finished.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah, that comes from the passion. And you asked me about what I see with flat earthers. I'm starting to think you guys never sleep, because you guys are always up and posting stuff. you
Yeah, the
know
sheer amount, the avalanche of content, it's, I've been devoting so much time to the magazine and writing and working behind the scenes, and I'll be like, oh man, I've got to hit Twitter, and it's like, whoa, it's like an entirely different landscape here. I have a bazillion things to look at.
right.
It's crazy, and that's just a couple days. Being away for a couple days, it's a mountain.
Right.
Pretty impressive.
It is.
Um, and then so there tends to be this really driving passion that takes over a lot of flat earth. People get into it, and they kind of just get to this place where that's all they want to do, and that drops us into the tail end of this discussion. How do you find? Is it even possible to find balance when you still have to be engaged and committed to a lot of things over here that might not directly contradict flat Earth, but maybe they do. But you have to do all this stuff over here to keep your life working,
Right.
and then you have this overwhelming passion. You want more of that time that you have to spend over here. You want to be able to spend it on this flat Earth thing, and there's this kind of tug of war going on, and how do we find balance in that?
This is kind of a do what I say, not as I do.
Right.
I mean, I think being able to, and this loops back to what we touched on at the beginning of the show, being able to find that balance, to compartmentalize, I think in the long run is always better for whatever your cause is, because you take yourself out of that perspective that you've been stuck in, and it allows you. It's like hitting the refresh button.
Yeah.
Um, but it's hard to do. I certainly, I know you have issues with this, and I have big issues with this. I'll sit down. I'm supposed to write like 4 articles that are due the next day, and I find myself painting. It's you're driven by your passion, and it's hard. I'm not necessarily sure you can control it. I don't know. What do you think?
No, I mean, I guess if it could be controlled,
Then it would be.
then it wouldn't, would it still be defined as the kind of passion we're talking about? I, you know, I think for me, I get myself so worn out and so like, oh no, I can just stay up until 3 or 4 in the morning and then get a couple hours sleep and then do my job over here and then come back. And I kind of plot out my week this way, and it's insane. And I think I would be much better off if I didn't try to control the passion, but just gave myself permission to, like, okay, hold on, you need to make sure that you're staying healthy, that you're staying um, that you have the mental energy to keep doing all the things you want to do. Because if you pull that thread too thin and it snaps, it's hard to get back up.
Yeah, there's times where, my wife will come down to my office and knock on the door, and she'll ask me if I've eaten, and then it'll only been then I realized that I haven't eaten for 15 hours. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I suddenly feel like I'm gonna collapse the second I pop out of that passionate bubble. And yeah, that's where balance. I think that's the most important thing of balance. You just touched on is you've got to take care of your physical needs. You need to keep up on it, like you were saying, because you're going to lose a lot if you're doing what I'm doing every day.
Exactly. Yeah, it's not going to do anybody any good
it's
to
it's
to fall that hard, even if you have the best of intentions.
I I want to ask if that's all right real quick, because I see, it's obvious you mentioned it earlier that Polly does a lot of work, and I'm interested in seeing if he has an opinion on balance.
Oh yeah, for
So
sure.
yeah, I would love to hear your comment, Polly, if you can get to it on balance, and if you
Agreed.
think
You
it'd be
know,
great.
it's interesting. We we get so caught up in our own little world, our own, this tunnel vision of everything that we need to do. And even while we're interacting with other people and there's a give and take there, it's interesting, we don't actually think about first, well, maybe this person is just as worn, just as thin as I am, or we don't know what's going on in their lives, and we tend not to think about that.
Right.
We just, when we need something from someone, we'll contact them, and but this is my little domain and everything has to go this way. And um yeah, I think we do well to cut each other some slack and be more aware that we're all putting in a lot of time and effort here.
See, let me jump in there. Um, yeah, we know, Polly, that it's spelled wrong. That's what happens, I guess, when ties up for so many hours.
Yes. No,
We
look,
just
just
didn't
give me,
have
if you
time.
give me like 3 minutes, I'm sure I can come up with a very philosophical, witty
Right.
comeback to why that's misspelled. I can do it. It's
I know.
ball, right? Ball ants, right? It's a pun on the globe. Yeah.
See, and that's the kind of genius you guys are getting in this magazine.
You're not going to find ball ants anywhere else. I can tell you that.
Hey, Polly's wondering if he wants to call in. Do you want to do that for a few minutes?
Yeah, what I need to take a little break. I do want to do some call-ins. That would be great. And so what I'm going to do is queue up the trailer again,
Cool.
and I'm going to take a couple minutes. And when we come back, hopefully we can have Polly call in, or if not Polly, maybe Flat Earth Smarts, Adam Carter. So
God,
we'll
that'd
be
be great.
yeah, we'll be back in a couple minutes.
And you were a house on fire, and I couldn't understand why. Burned me all down to the ground, you said. The fire's on the inside. Flames dancing like ghosts behind the windows, pain jumping from the walls. You want to keep this private, I can see that, but you can't ask of me, we've only just met. I said we need hope now more than ever before, do you believe it? The answer was silence, I'll take it as a no. We all want to be normal anyways. We all want to be somewhere else, somewhere we live, but that's not reality, it's just point of view. Let's not talk about the weather and whether or not there's really rain in the clouds unless you just want to know if I feel the same as you. It's more measuring up than just wasting time, but time is not on our side, you're burning. Rain would only be a temporary fix, and there's just no place right now for cute ironies like that anymore. You're a house on fire. About life, we just sing them different. You sing the words, but you don't know the song. You expect us all to sing along, how selfish. The lengths that we go to put so much distance between us is staggering. You're burning alive with stress and light, both hands in flames trying to hold the fire inside. Drop and roll, repeat line for emphasis. I'll repeat it until you believe it. You're gonna be okay, say it to me. The answer's still silent, I'll take it as a maybe. I can't decide if I should knock down your door or on it. Say the word and I'll take a hatchet to your heart or a pinprick. Go right through the darkness, fill out the contents. On my knees, sorting through the remnants. Pour out your hates in my hands. I'll let them slip right here through my fingers. And this is for all of us. This is for the times that we only listen long enough to know that the other person we're talking to has the same opinions we do from when we're burning inside.
Okay, that was the trailer for issue number 1 of Flat Revival magazine. Do we want to try to let someone else call in here?
I think if somebody is interested, absolutely, that would be fabulous.
Let's I'm gonna ask in chat here real quick. Now, because we've covered, I think we hit all the points that we set out to hit on. Feels really good to have this thing completed. You and I will be going over this thing with a fine-tooth comb, probably until maybe Friday afternoon or so. Make sure that it's as good and as tight as it can be. And then it will be submitted to the printer on Friday for approval. So this thing's gonna be in print and available very soon.
That's exciting. I mean, you're almost there. You know, it's you guys. Everybody, you guys are gonna love it.
Yeah, and thanks for everything that you've contributed and just being there through this whole process. It means a lot.
And I can't wait for this thing to pick up. It's going to be really exciting for me to be able to pay contributors. It's super exciting to me.
That'll be a great moment. I mean, I really want to be able to get there and create this thing that just starts feeding into itself and growing and attracting more and more talent. And I think if we just keep plugging away at it and putting something out there that's unexpected and of high quality and engages people on a meaningful level, who knows what it could become.
I mean, it's as big as everybody wants it to be,
Exactly.
So.
All right, man. Well, I think Polly does want to call in here, so.
No, that's great. I'm excited to hear what he has to say.
All right, dude.
Cool.
Talk to you soon. All right, Polly, I'm ready for you. If you're just joining us, Flat Revival Magazine #1 is officially completed. This is kind of just a celebration of that. We premiered a trailer that kind of showcased the entire issue without really giving anything away. And it just feels really good to be at the finish line, to have something I hope everybody's proud of. Looking forward to the feedback. Hello, Flat Revival Radio.
Hey, it's Polly.
Polly. All right, man.
Hey, let me get to the front porch because I've got really, really bad service. I have Sprint, and it's in a tiny little town.
Okay.
There's like no bar. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you just fine. You seem to be coming through all right.
Okay, cool. I guess it's just my receptivity. You're a little bit digitized, but that's cool.
Okay.
So, yeah, you wanted to know about balance, how I do it or how I fail to do it?
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to hear from you on that. It's clear that you are really engaged. I can only imagine, like I said, we kind of have tunnel vision and we think what we're working on is the only thing anyone's working on. But it occurred to me that this is probably just one of many things that Polly's doing right now.
Well, yeah, I guess. See, I've always been an entrepreneur, and so I'm always busy. If as a child, if I wasn't reading comic books, I was building Lego planescapes with my moon Legos. So have always been doing something. So, and I haven't ever really slept much. But in, I guess, 2003, I decided that I was done being a businessman and decided to be an artist. And so I just turned all my free time and all my work time and some of my sleep time into creativity. So I don't know. I don't think I really have balance. My wife seems to think I'm an insane person. Hold on.
Nice.
Not a motorcycle. My wife seems to think I'm insane, but I still will coal away time from, sleep usually to hang out with her. She drugged me to go see Stephen King's It the other day, and I was like, well, I could be writing. So,
yeah,
but
obviously a lot of people have seen that. What did you think of it?
What did I think? Oh, you really want me to get into that?
Maybe
so,
not.
Because I do have actual opinions. Okay, I will say this without spoilers. I will say this: it's as good as the first half of the original movie, because
Nice.
It was only half, but they were children. But as a whole, it's not as good as the whole of the original movie because there's a lot of extras that shouldn't be there for a great plot driving movie. So take that as you will. I guess if you watch probably part 1 and part 2 when it comes out, whenever, you'll have a really good movie. Yeah.
Nice.
It's very close to the book. So.
Oh, that's unusual.
Right? For Stephen King. Look at Lawnmower Man. Forget about it.
Well, if it's good, Stephen King must have been nowhere near it, because it sure seems anytime he involves himself with adapting one of his stories into film, it's a disaster.
Except for Creepshow. But you're right.
Yes, well, there's always an exception.
Yeah, that would be the exception.
Well, we
Um,
derailed real good there.
I know. I'm so sorry. I'm so bad about that. I
Well, it
am
was
a
my fault too. I have to admit I was curious about it. So let's get back
yeah,
on.
curiosity. Curiosity killed the flat Earth, and next we're going to be talking about end caps. Watch out. No, I'm just kidding. but as far as my time, I long time ago, because as a non-churched Bible believer, I actually hate American Christianity with a vehement passion. I believe that I can divide my time up equally, and this may seem strange to most, between worship, work, rest, and play, 6 hours of each. And so if I want to be like God, because in Genesis he just like created stuff all the time. I'm like, that's fucking awesome. Let me create stuff too, right? So like that's 6 hours of creativity. And then I work, and technically I'm a paper boy, right? So
Yeah.
I only work like 4 hours a day, but I work 7 days a week. So it kind of like either drives me insane or makes the paycheck. But so work 6 hours a day and then rest 6 hours a day and play 6 hours a day. So I get to play too. So I get to create when I play. So I'm really working 18 hours a day on just cool stuff, and then like have to take a break for sleep and work, and then go right back to making cool stuff. So
Wow.
whether
That
it's yeah, I'm creating an app with my friend, or making Empires and Generals card game, or making a board game, or writing, or painting, or making more techno, or whatever I'm doing, I'm like just all over the place.
that is intriguing. I have to say, because I'm a freelance designer, I I do have freedom in terms of, as long as I get the work done, I can break it up and do it whenever I want to. So
Right.
I could potentially, I like this system. I think that you have hit on something that could be very beneficial to a lot of people. It's not, everybody's different, but this sounds really appealing to me, to know that every day I'm going to get something I want out of that day. Whereas the way I tend to do things now, I might have a whole 4 or 5 days where I'm doing nothing but things I don't really want to be doing because I got myself into that position.
Oh yeah, dude. It's so hard though. But even if I'm like with my friend John Conrad, who wrote the foreword to my Flat Earth book, he and I are making an app, and it's a tower defense game. And so like I'm the graphic designer, right? And I'm like so slow, and he's writing code, and I'm like, oh John, I'm so sorry, but I'm like, I'm gonna sit down, I'm gonna make one icon. That's it. That's all I can do. But I can say that day, Ty, I made art, even
Yes.
if it was just 300 by 300 pixels. But I
Yeah.
made art. So that, making art, learning something new, and brushing my teeth, I think that's like the three things I really can't go without. Taking a shit, I guess. But,
I really, yeah, I really appreciate your approach. I think that's spot on, and I have to say, I am going to give it a try. I
yeah,
I feel like I can already feel like I'm sitting here with no sleep, having pushed myself way too hard in a compressed amount of time, and you laid out this formula you have, and I'm like, wow, that sounds really smart and sensible. Maybe I should do that.
yeah, and it's, again, I'll go through it just in case people missed it the first time. It's what I have as a person who has a faith is worship, and that's prioritized. Work, rest, and play. And I have to hit all four. And sometimes it one, brings from the other. Like if I have to take 2 hours or three, if you have an hour lunch break, from my playtime into work zone, then I know that on Sunday or Saturday or whatever, I'm gonna bring it back. And it's, and man, because the only thing you have left when it all comes down is yourself. You have yourself. You take yourself with you wherever you go. And I know you. And by the way, such a great job on everything you did today. And you've been working so tirelessly and just intensively, and like almost immutable like energy, like plowing through this just to get it done. And and such a great job. But now you need you. And so step away take a break, before you have to enter critique mode, and then go through it again. You know what I mean? You have
Yeah,
to take care of
no,
you,
I
man.
appreciate that. It really means a lot. Um, and I'm going to take it to heart. I'm going to do exactly what you're telling me. For sure. So you thought the video did hopefully it captured, kind of an essence of what this thing is.
I think the video is wonderful. I put it in the comments, and I don't know if you saw it, but I really believe that FER needs a face, and I know it's hard to be that public figure, but whether it's you or whoever, it needs a face. And so, because I think the relatability is there, you've got a great logo, you've got a great icon, you've got a great a song now that you can use.
Yeah,
But I think it's going to be tough. But I really think a human face would do wonders. Oh, there's a
sure.
train. I'm going to go inside.
No, I hear
But
that.
that,
It's baby steps. 4 months ago, I was certain I was never going to use social media, and then
right.
2 months ago, I was certain I would never be making YouTube videos or live streaming, and here I am, and it's
Right.
so you just kind of I'm easing myself into this thing, and you get a lot of strength from watching other people do it. It's just,
Yeah.
and I think over the recent months, so many people have jumped in with incredible enthusiasm, and it's contagious. And you're like, oh yeah, I could do something a little bigger. I can, why not step it up a notch? And it's really fun.
Yeah, and we can all draw from each other, and we all have those icons in our lives, even if we don't admit it to anybody else. Like personally, I adore Rob Skiba. I'm like, that guy's awesome. He gets up there, he's a speaker, he's got all these great things going on. He's really, really active, and he gets he'll drive to Chicago to go on a boat just for the cause, right?
Yeah.
So I'm like, go man, go, and where does he have the energy? So like, if I can pull from him and learn from his mistakes and from his achievements, then more power to me, so that I can do more.
Yeah.
So it is a community. I think the interconnected web is good. I like all of the opinions, and well, I can't say that. I don't like all the opinions, but I like most of the opinions. What I do love, and what I really want to, if I'm going to get up on a soapbox and preach about anything, is unity. I think we need to come together, and the squabbling and bickering about this person doesn't like this person, et cetera, blah blah blah, little factions and groups, whatever. Let's just put it aside and let's go, man. Because if we need each other. We definitely need each other.
There's no question about that. It took several years for me to finally step into it, and there's just no way without. Sometimes it's just one person dropping an unexpected kind of message, or dropping you some little goodie that you weren't expecting to get, and it's going to be perfect for what you're working on, or just a little encouragement, and it's like, oh yeah, that's right, there's this whole community out there, and they're incredibly supportive, and we kind of have this knowing thing with each other, because there's this unspoken thing we've all gone through, where we had to let go of a world that's completely lied to us, and that's not an easy thing to do. That's a tough process.
No. Oh gosh. And to live in isolation from your friends and family.
Right.
To give up the things, the cultured habits of the societal, norms, and to be readily available and say to the world, whether it's a T-shirt or whether it's a magazine, or a novel in my case, hey, look at me, I'm an idiot. On purpose, I believe something that none of you believe in, and here's why. And it's the most unarming thing ever. You're naked on a stage, and people have tomatoes, and but I believe the truth.
Yeah.
Here I am. So yeah, it's so hard, and I think yeah, we understand that about each other. But here on the other side, I don't know what kind of metaphor I can use, but here on the other side of going through that, I think a group hug would be better than, finding our own corner.
Most definitely. And that's being proven. I think through everything, we've got this really strong growing trend toward flat earth meetups, where people are bringing it together in person. And I just see a lot of good things coming out of those. I don't think I've seen a flat earther in any photo at a meetup who wasn't kind of beaming or glowing.
Right. Ear to ear, yeah, I know. Oh,
so
I've yet to meet a flat earther in person.
That's interesting.
I live in the middle of nowhere, and it's I never have, and I'll bring it up. My best friend John, he's a flat earther, but he's in Tulsa, and I'm stuck between Indy and Chicago with like farmers, and it's like, hey buddy, how's the weather?
I guess I've been talking to so many different flat earthers from around the world that it hasn't occurred to me. I have never met a flat earther in person either. That's crazy.
I'll probably cry. I don't know what I'm gonna do. It's like, wow, wow, come move in with me.
No doubt.
I don't know. I don't like cities, but I love the country just because of.
Sure.
But I just, one day, wherever it would be, it's going to be really, really cool. And yes, the internet. Oh, what a saving grace, right? Just connecting everyone, and now I don't know of any other product. And let's just talk, logistics here. Your product, besides buttons, stickers, and T-shirts,
right,
and billboards now, but you can't really touch them, can you?
Right.
But so it's like a TV. Your product is the only thing that I know in the entirety. Well, books. There's books. But those aren't really periodicals. Those don't circulate well. They sit on a shelf.
Right.
And I guess you could give it to somebody. But your product is like the harbinger of, well, not really harbinger, but the spearhead, I guess, the vanguard of a whole new, I believe, tangible movement.
Yeah.
Where people can say, oh look, I've got this and this and this, and I've got this like 15 editions of Flat Earth Survival. What's Flat Earth Survival? Let me see one. Here, you can just have this. Take
Yeah,
five.
I mean, can you imagine the curiosity of a collection of Flat Revival magazines? Like, and to be honest with you, like the cover of this first issue, it was something so completely different than I would have imagined at the outset. But
right.
This great art came through from Zetetic Mindset. The art was part of the Globe Exit Art Show. I actually purchased a piece. They're incredibly made. The skill level is just apparent when you're holding the actual art in your hand. But it's such a different vibe than I would have expected the first issue to be. I guess I was envisioning almost like you're saying, almost like a big hug, And this is a little bit more intimidating, but I thought the art's great. It's an iconic figure that might actually grab the interest of people who aren't flat earthers. Just the curiosity of like, well, what are they saying about Einstein in here?
Yep.
So it seemed like a good way to go.
No, that's genius. I was going to talk about the iconography of Albert Einstein, even with the ventriloquist mouth and the dead eyes. It's wonderful. People, I know that hair or that mustache, that combination of features. That's let me see what this is. What is this?
Exactly.
They're going to pick it up and they're going to look at the emperor penguin or whatever else is in there, and they might walk away with. They might walk away with the floodgates open, or they might walk away with a crack in their belief system, which is really, the Bible talks about some sow some water, some reap the harvest. And so if what you're doing is you're watering, or you're just people have never heard about it, they're like, oh, my uncle believes the flat Earth, or more commonly, my uncle believes we never landed on the moon. I wonder what they say about that. And so they're going to investigate and start their own journey.
Yeah, correct. It's it's very interesting, and it's not my objective. What we were just talking about, and there was some decision making process by choosing Einstein for the cover, but it's not the objective of the magazine to turn spinning ball believers into flat earthers. I think that it could happen indirectly, just because the sheer passion and intensity and the kind of information that's in the magazine. Someone might just come in contact with it and just be so taken aback by this approach or this worldview. But this is a magazine for flat earthers. It's for flat earthers.
Right.
It's not trying to convince anyone that we're on a flat motionless plane. That's not its purpose. Its purpose is to directly engage the people who've already more or less come to that conclusion.
Right.
And I think that makes it's a little more mysterious. I mean, it's difficult to pin down because of that, I think.
I think that's, and yes, I love that. And even with the inadvertent proselytization of the flat Earth movement, or just the ideas behind the good science of it, would be a boon to think about in the future. I am of the strong opinion that tangible objects do help sway if you're on the fence, or even if you're looking at the fence from a distance, will help sway the notion to get over the fence. As a personal note, in 98, I was handed a VHS tape of Alex Jones' Police State 2000 and Bill Still's The Money Masters, which I wholeheartedly recommend everyone watch. And it was the crack in the door for me as a churched Christian to come to the realization that the deep state, or the world as I knew it, was not what it appeared. And that was really the tipping point, I guess, if you want to use that term, for me to say, oh, there must be more. And so I started diving down.
Nice.
But it was, just 2 videos, maybe 4 hours in total. And,
you just never know what's going to trigger something for an individual. Each person is such a collection of unique experiences, that something you would never expect would have an impact or sway somebody. That could be the thing. So that's why, I want the magazine to represent as diverse a crowd, or as diverse methodology as possible. I want all different types of creativity and different viewpoints coming from this flat Earth perspective and that state of mind.
Yeah, exactly. And being an outcast from many angles, I can definitely see the harvesting of resources. I mean, even in the chat earlier, I'm not there now, but you had someone from Germany, Mexico, someone who grew up in the Soviet Union. We're all chatting, and we're here on YouTube, just having fun. That's like, wow, that's a badge of honor right there.
It really is.
Yeah, man.
Flat Earth seems to just negate all kind of cultural, these little walls that we all find ourselves in, that they're so good at building up around us. Flat Earth just seems to knock all that down, and that we can just stand on this common ground and kind of grin at each other. It's fantastic.
Sorry for the truck. I think, in my opinion, just as a person from the biblical perspective, I don't have any church friends who believe in flat Earth, so I'm excommunicated from that whole society. I've left my church 17 years, and so I don't have any friends there anymore. And now my wife, who works at a factory, she's talking to people about what I believe in. They're like, blah blah blah, you're stupid. And one guy, he's like, well, of course we never landed on the moon because of the radiation. So that was my foot in. I'm like, you're right. NASA admits we never landed on the moon because we can't get past the Van Allen radiation belt. And I started talking about what is that. And so it's a little bit, getting in there. But I think the flat earthers, we have recognized ourselves as the only, and I don't know about all flat earthers, but I know most, we are the only sentient life, apart from whatever being above us, the intelligent creator, designer, whatever. But or the metacosmos being, or whatever it is. And so I believe that with the, no pun intended, the alienation of aliens, we've become more alive, aware, attuned to our own importance, to our own destiny, I guess, fate, or even more, if it's not fate, then more aware of our own freedom of expression.
Yeah.
And because we are more empowered now than we have been because of this enclosed system.
Sure.
That we recognize the systems of man, the Illuminati, the Bilderberg Group, whoever, the systems of man are just that, systems of man.
Right.
And we can rise and overcome. And I think that revelation, that total mindfuck, is just, for me, was so substantial that, in my own perspective,
yeah, no, I
angels,
I completely relate to that, and I don't know, it's yeah, it's almost like that's worthy of doing an entire show on that, that's train of thought, because there's just so much there to talk about.
Yeah, and you can put alien overlords to the side, and so what's left?
Right.
I have a theological position, but not everybody's going to see it that way. But yeah, it's definitely for me, so like, wow, because I was writing a science fiction series. For 10 years I was writing this thing, and when I stepped back and said, well, wait a minute, there's no Vulcan ship that's going to land and give peace to mankind,
Right.
the Star Trek thing. There's no V, there's no first contact. There's nothing like that at all. We made first contact. We're here with each other.
Yes.
We've contacted each other.
Yes.
So yeah, and yeah, there could be a whole show on that. Yeah, I'd have to dice that one out. Oh,
Yeah.
There's another train. Hey man, I'm gonna let you go, man. Anything else you needed to ask me?
No, I think we're good. I really appreciate everything you had to say, and I am seriously going to consider breaking up my day the way you're doing currently. It sounds really a healthy thing to do. So thanks for that, and thanks for all your contributions to the magazine. It is greatly appreciated.
Well, yeah, I'm stoked about writing this novel. It's unique, and I'm working on part 3 right now for November. So I'm getting there.
All right, man. Nice. Well, we'll talk to you soon.
All right. Bye.
All right, that was Polly Hart. He has contributed. He's going to be contributing an ongoing science fiction series to Flat Revival magazine. Part 1 is in issue number 1. He also has a new Flat Earth book out called My Flat Earth, which is a collaboration with many other Flat Earth individuals sharing their testimony. It looks like a very interesting read, and yeah, Polly Hart's been really every step of the way. He's been doing what he can to help and contributing. Every time I ask him for something or need something, he's always right there. So thank you, Polly, for that. For anyone just joining us, Flat Revival issue 1 is complete, and we premiered the trailer, and I think that went well. I hope everybody enjoyed it. If anybody else would like to call in, is Adam Carter still here? Flat Earth Smarts. If you want to call in, feel free. Anyone else who would like to call in, talk about first issue of the magazine, or hey, just talk about Flat Earth in general. Okay. Well, I think we achieved everything we set out to achieve. This issue is Anybody else would like to call in? Flat Revival Radio.
Hey, it's Spiritual North.
Hey, Spiritual North. Awesome. How you doing, man?
How's it? I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm tired, but I feel kind of this overwhelming calm. You know. I think anyone and you might need to turn your speakers down.
Yeah, I just clipped them. Thank you.
No problem. I think anyone who kind of has a tendency to overexert or push too hard on a creative project knows that feeling of, you make the finish line.
Oh.
And it's like you really should be sleeping already, but
right. But then you're on the post-completion high.
Yeah, it feels amazing. You just kind of want to savor it, and
yeah.
And even better that I get to talk to other flat earthers and contributors to this project. I was really blown away.
For sure.
I was really blown away by the depth and insight of your responses to the interview questions.
Cool. Thanks, man. Happy to hear that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
I gave it my my full attention, and I took the project seriously. I could feel that you were, and I wanted to reflect that back to you. And now taking a look at what you've shown us so far, I feel like it's paid off. I'm really glad that I gave it my all, and I'm proud to be a part of the first edition.
Nice. So I appreciate that. There's always that sense of, you're not sure. You go out on a limb and you hope it doesn't break. And then if it doesn't break, you hope when you get out there all the way that there's somebody out there to greet you and say, I'll take this. Thank you.
And Ty, that's how great art gets made. Some courageous individual proclaims some idea that they just dreamt or thought up, and everyone kind of gauges it. All right, is this individual doing this idea? Is this an ether into action, or is this just a floater by? Is this a quick float by cloud, or is this here to stay? And then you just kind of, you build it up with your energy, and it looks like you've brought in, just seeing the snippets that you included from like Crow 77 and Rusted Soul and Paulie, who just called in, like you had put together, a nice collection of people, and I imagine you'll continue to diversify and have all types of flat Earth viewpoints in there, and I think that's really commendable, So when do I get my hands on it? Are you shipping me one? I'll buy it. I'll buy it if that's the mode. Whatever.
We're certainly. I'm looking to certainly get copies out to all the contributors. It's a tough thing. There's it's tough. Playing by Create Space rules, and
Right.
It's it's. So I'm not, and there's some things I don't know about that process. So if all goes well, yes, this thing is going to be available very soon. But then again, I don't know how drawn out that approval process through CreateSpace can be. I'm pretty well trained in setting up documents for print and following directions in that regard. So I don't foresee any major problems there.
Can I ask you what was maybe the most, I guess, surprising? Anytime there's a creative birthing, there's always kind of a curveball or something that comes along that you didn't expect to field? Is there anything that you'd want to speak to other creators out there that are looking to do flat Earth related projects that maybe we could, learn from your experience?
Right. I think one of the things that, and it continually surprises me about flat Earth in general, is that I tend to be pretty bad about asking people for any kind of help or reaching out to people.
Right.
Right. It's just this that, it's that, I guess I've been a writer most of my life, so there's this very much like I'm in a little box, completely separated from everything, and that's kind of how I approach things, and I'm going to take it all on and do it all. But the amazing thing is that so many people just stepped up and offered their creativity or their time or their encouragement or made a contribution to the GoFundMe and just dropped. And it's like, it really was a surprise to me just how much support there is in this. I've never received, I've been working in artistic endeavors my entire life, and I've never had that kind of blanket support.
Yeah, and it's one of the, I think I'm good to touch on that. I think it is one of the keynotes to this growing body of researchers and, cosmological explorers and open-mindedness that, we want to, if you build it, we'll come. You know what I mean? Like, people want to gather around shit, and you just got to throw a stake in the ground and say, this is what I'm doing, who's in? And, by and large, people are pretty helpful and open-minded. I'm really just blown away by the community. So much support and love for, every YouTube video, any song, whatever comes out, everybody's just continuing to champion each other. Like, anytime any of my people make anything, boom, I want to share it on Facebook, Twitter, post about it, blog about it on spiritualnorth.com or whatever means I can do to just show more people, hey, this is what we're all doing,
Yeah, it's really fun to watch this happen. It's like everybody's just egging each other on. It's almost like, you're gonna get just that enough encouragement to take that next step further, and then you're committed to that bigger project or that thing that's a little more ambitious than maybe you intended. But it's just neat. I think that it continues to grow in a way and continues to draw more and more innovative minds and diverse types of people.
People willing to explore flat Earth are some of the sharpest, cutting edge, artistic and creative people that I've come across in all of my networks. It's really breathtaking, actually.
Why do you?
It's amazing. It's a strange attractor because it cuts through all, like I mentioned in what I wrote. It cuts across all the different sectors. Social, religious, political, economic, legal, artistic, and fill in the blank. And it's like flat Earth applies to all of that.
Isn't that? Yes, it does, and I don't. It is this kind of phenomenon that. And I guess that's what really drew me to doing this project, is I knew that because it was, quote unquote, a flat Earth magazine, I knew intrinsically that did not mean that everything and every word in the magazine had to be directly discussing flat Earth every second. That's quite the contrary. If you, like you said, if you've come to this flat Earth thing, you're like the depth of what you think about, the range of topics, it's like, it's insane. This magazine can be about just about anything we want it to be about, because all flat earthers care about is that you're engaging them on that next level.
Exactly. And we'll pick anybody up wherever they're at in their journey, at least I'll speak for myself. I will. And, I'm not keen on hitting someone with a, I don't know, quote unquote, eighth level truth, if they're still grappling with a quote unquote second level truth or something, in terms of like the depths of how these things apply and what may or may not be, veridical in terms of whatever, news events and so forth. It's just like we come meet people where they're at, and then like get into there. And my favorite thing is to ask questions as opposed to give answers, because when the other person is doing the computer processing, I think that's when the growth is happening. And when we're just kind of like, I think it's IPS said, like, I don't want to be a mama bird. I'm not going to chew up your food and so that, so you can eat it easier. It's like
Yes,
how like allowing people to chew. Like, don't presume that you need to be this like Morpheus that just, if someone's ready for that and you got an open lightning bolt and they're just like, yo, what's good? Take it there. Beyond that, though, it's like this you kind of meet out the level of conversation that the person is comfortable with engaging. And I think that that's like a real sophisticated approach to how this will grow, much further and faster.
Yes.
Than just being seen as like, those kind of picketing, loud, all caps type vibe.
I completely hear where you're coming from. Yeah, I think that's really spot on, because when I think about, and we all have our story, when we hit on this thing, when it really just struck us, this, wow,
Right.
it is not this ball, that is not reality. But there was a process.
Right.
There was a natural process that got us there. For most of us, it's pretty intricate, actually. And
Yeah.
there were these little steps we took along the way, and each one prepared us a little bit more for the granddaddy that was coming, And
Right.
we had no idea what was around that corner, but we kind of got to take it in phases, most of us, I think. And to not allow other people to go through that process, to expect them to be able to just jump from here to here, it's really unfair.
It totally is. And, we can look at our own timelines of how we walked through the various kind of stages of uncovering things that empowered you and helped you, perceive your reality, with more clarity, and like, let's not begrudge anybody their process. And at the same token, here we are out, arguably out somewhere near the edge, cutting new waters, navigating, and sharing our ideas. And so definitely, Ty, like, to you and the editor that worked on it with you. And I want to throw a big shout out to Zetetic Mindset for this, what I would say, like, incendiarily brilliant cover of Albert Einstein. Like,
it's so
I just
good.
think that I think it's so good. And I think it's a timepiece. And I'm so glad that you jumped and took the leap. And yeah, I'm definitely here to support you, as you move forward with the project, promotion and otherwise. So
thanks, man.
I don't want to take up all the time, because I bet someone else is going to call in. So
all right,
I just want to say thank you, man.
No, thank you. I appreciate it.
Cool. All right, take care. We'll be in touch.
All right, bye. All right, that was Spiritual North. He is the author of the ebook Flatlandia. It is, even if you're a Flat Earth veteran, this thing is well worth your time. There are a lot of great insights to be found, and not to mention, it is a wealth of link resources, interactive links. I mean, this thing is a great starter for somebody just getting into it, but I guarantee anyone who puts the time into reading through this thing diligently is going to come out the other side with some new ideas and a fresh perspective on things. So Flatlandia, check it out by Spiritual North. Anyone else wants to call in? The numbers on the screen right now. Issue number 1 of Flat Revival is officially done. Louis and I, Louis Lewis, the editor of the magazine, we will be going through it with a fine-tooth comb here tomorrow, and it will be submitted to the printer on Friday. So this will be available soon. If all goes well, I hope to be posting links to where you can get your copy, hopefully by next week. That would be ideal. Is anybody interested in calling in? Number is 530-588-0922. And I did forget to mention that FEMA camp. It does. I think it's November 4th and 5th. If all goes well, I may be attending that event. It's not completely locked down yet, but Flat Revival Magazine is looking to be at the FEMA camp event. Really looking forward to that, being able to meet some people. Certainly we'll be giving some form of presentation. Haven't put a lot of thought into that yet, but there will be copies of the magazine there, and it would be great to meet anyone that is able to be there. All right, I appreciate everyone for dropping in. Really excited about this issue. So many great contributions. I think people are going to be engaged and surprised. It really captures a lot of different viewpoints and transcends, a lot of the stuff that tends to get in our way and muddy the waters. I think it's something that I hope a lot more people step up to the plate and contribute to. We're all about creativity, ideas. There's really no boundary here. This magazine can become anything we want it to be, and it's real. It's going to be in your hands soon, and this is just the first step. I think we can take it a lot further. So thanks everyone for dropping by. I'm going to drop on the trailer one more time, and then that'll be it. Thanks everyone.
And you were a house on fire, and I couldn't understand why. Burned me all down to the ground, you said. The fire's on the inside. Flames dancing like ghosts behind the windows, pain jumping from the walls. You want to keep this private, I can see that, but you can't ask of me, we've only just met. I said we need hope now more than ever before, do you believe it? The answer was silence, I'll take it as a no. We all want to be normal anyways. We all want to be somewhere else, somewhere we live, but that's not reality, it's just point of view. Let's not talk about the weather and whether or not there's really rain in the clouds, unless you just want to know if I feel the same as you. It's more measuring up than just wasting time, but time is not on our side, you're burning. Rain would only be a temporary fix, and there's just no place right now for cute ironies like that anymore. You're a house on fire. About life, we just sing them different. You sing the words, but you don't know the song. You expect us all to sing along, how selfish. The lengths that we go to put so much distance between us is staggering. You're burning alive with stress and light, both hands in flames trying to hold the fire inside. Drop and roll, repeat line for emphasis. I'll repeat it until you believe it. You're gonna be okay, say it to me. The answer's still silent, I'll take it as a maybe. I can't decide if I should knock down your door or on it. Say the word and I'll take a hatchet to your heart or a pinprick. Cut right through the darkness without the contents. On my knees sorting through the remnants. Pour out your hates in my hands. I'll let them slip right here through my fingers. And this is for all of us. This is for the times that we only listen long enough to know that the other person we're talking to has the same opinions we do from when we're burning inside.